Hi everyone, it's Danny. Welcome back to another 12 by 12 layout for the Unscrapped Bundle of Joy series that I am participating in with Melissa Vining from Melissa Vining Creates. So today I'm going to be scrapping a photo, obviously, of my little girl, my baby girl. We are trying to scrapbook photos of our baby albums. So at the moment I have got this background that I have already pre-started. It was just some leftover pink Colour Blast paste that I had watered down, so I just swiped it onto the this piece of plain white cardstock in some wide brush strokes with the dry brush and just sprinkled, splattered what was left. So that's all I'm started with on the background there. So I'm going through my little kit that I put together for my baby albums, and I am taking inspiration from this paper. This is a Kaiser Craft paper from the Peekaboo Girl collection that came out several years ago, and it's all different stripes, like strips of paper. So I'm cutting some of these into strips, and I really like the phrases on these. There's quite a few really beautiful sayings for babies. So I think that one says eat, sleep, cuddle, and which I thought was perfect because we're having a cuddle in this photo. She's fast asleep with her little hands crossed, so cute. So this one, I really love this quote, so I want to bring that in. It says, first we had each other, then we had you, now we have everything. So anyone who's had a baby has probably seen this quote. It's very sweet. So you missed a little bit here because my camera died, but all I've done is torn two edges of the cardstock there, and then I pieced together those quotes onto some of that pink musical note paper just to sort of fill in the gaps. And now I'm going to layer them underneath my cardstock in those torn spots so that the quote is sort of peeking out on either side of the layout. And I'll come in a bit later and use my embellishments to sort of hide those joins a bit. Okay, trimming down my photo, I'm just going to trim off all that extra at the top. There's a lot of black. My hair's just at the top of the photo there, and off to the side. It's just really shadows that don't need to be in the photo, and I want it to really focus in on her beautiful little face. Then I'm just using some scrap cardstock there to back my photo, just to give a thin border of white. And then I'll pull out some of my 6x6 papers. So I'm very pink at the moment. Everything's very monochromatic pink, so I want to bring in a bit of this pale blue. So I'm using a layer of that. Okay, and I found this paper, it's little hot air balloons on a cream background. I thought it was so beautiful, and I really didn't want to lose all those cute little hot air balloons, so I'm going to keep that as a 6x6 paper and just sort of layer it behind my photo. Using some of this pink polka dot, and I'm piecing this together. So I didn't have a full sheet of it, so I'm just cutting off strips and piecing it together. I'll skip two in a minute because it's quite boring to watch. There we go, and then I'm just, once it's all pieced together, I'm just trimming it all flush, and you can't even tell. And then just distressing the edges with my scissors. Apologies if you can hear background noises. We have a lot of traffic going past today. It's quite hot, so I do have the doors and windows open. And my son's playing with his train track, so you might hear the occasional whistle. I'm distressing that hot air balloon paper with my scissors as well. And then I am going to start cutting these strips up into pieces so I can layer them either side of my photo, and some I will layer underneath my photo and some I will layer underneath that hot air balloon paper. Just pop my photo up on a bit of adhesive foam there to lift that up. And what am I doing now? Right, so now I'm going through with more of these strips. So I'm going to use these ones that I've already cut. I'm going to cut little fishtail banners into all of them. I think I do that too. And I'll cut off a few more strips. So I really love that musical note. I do use the little strollers and some of that gingham check colour, I believe. Pattern, not colour. So I'll cut them all different lengths and different widths just to keep that interesting to look at. So we will skip two in a minute and you will see everything done. So I am cutting off some of these little letter stickers. Some of them are just letters in no particular order, but some of them are words. So this strip has, I think it says Precious Little One, and there's some love hearts in there as well that I will also use. So just cutting those fishtail ends. I'm just freehanding it. I'm not worried too much about it being perfect. So you can just fold it in half and sort of cut on a diagonal and you'll get a perfect fishtail, but I'm not too worried. So there you go, that's roughly how it's going to be. I haven't glued them down yet. I'm just playing with these words. Okay, and now I'm going to start gluing. So you can see some of them I've tucked underneath that 6x6 paper, and some of them I have on top of the 6x6 and underneath the photo, just again to give a bit of visual interest. I'm using a combination of double-sided tape and wet glue because I have that mixed media on the background. So just where the mixed media was, I put a little bit of wet glue just to make sure it definitely sticks. I don't altogether trust tape, and I also don't trust tape on my adhesive foam on the non-sticky side. That's why I use some wet glue on that. It just never sticks. I don't know whether it's my foam or I see other people use ATG and it's fine, but my ATG doesn't even work on the foam. So there we go, all those banners are glued down. I have left a space because I wanted to, I didn't want to cover up all those mixed media stripes, so I've left some of those there. And then I'm popping up the precious little one on some foam. This was going to be my title, but I do come in with some thickers in a minute. So this is more like a subtitle, I suppose. Just pop up on foam. I just want these to stand out apart from those banners. So they're going to go down here. That big yellow thing I'm using is a dressmaker's ruler, in case you're wondering. It has lines on it and it's transparent, so I use that to line up my bits and pieces. So here you go. Here are my thickers. They're these beautiful glitter foam thickers. I think, what are they called? Beautiful, I think is the name of them. I could be wrong. I think they're from the Maggie Holmes collection. They're pretty old. And I'm going to use the True Love. Just fits perfectly right there. Love that. Love these stickers. So I'm going to take the little bow as well, just tuck that down there, and I will also take off the empty hearts that are linked together, and I'll tuck those onto the left side of my photo. I just find that these stickers are very in your face, they're very glittery and they draw a lot of attention, so I find it helpful if I make a group of 3 around the photo, around the layout. It helps draw the eye around the layout and not just to the title. So some of these little, they kind of look like flare, but they're little cardboard dimensional glossy stickers, and they're from Rosie Studio. So I'm just tucking a couple of those around the page. And now I'm just trimming up those little love hearts that I cut off the precious little one word strip. So I'm going to pop those up on foam also, and just sort of pop those around the page. Fussing around with my embellishments. I like that little flower with the button on it. It's the last pink one I have, so I'm going to use that to cover up the sort of seam in that quote. Bit of paper at the top there. Sorry, I do go off camera a bit. I was having a glass or 2 of wine. You can see my glass there when I was making this layout, so I wasn't necessarily paying the closest attention to how in frame I was. I do apologise. These little they're kind of flowered gems. They're from Kaisercraft. They're years old. I've had them for at least 10 years, but I'm trying to get through them. So I put a couple of those around, and then I pulled in these little, I guess they're enamel dots, they're enamel shapes, and they're glitter, and they're from Chamel. I'm not sure which collection, but I like the blue ones. It just brings a little bit more of that blue that I was trying to use onto my page. And I will end up moving 1 or 2 of those. That's not where they all stay. Just popping those hearts up on foam now and gluing them down. And these little stickers are actually nail decals, apparently. I got them in a Simply Gilded subscription box a while ago. I'm never going to use these. I hate stickers and things on my nails. I just think they look horrible. So I'm just going to use them stickers. They seem to work just fine. And they're really cute and tiny. And one of them is a tiny little bow. It's very similar to the gold bow that I've used. So I thought that was sweet. I'm going to use a couple of these chipboard pieces. I think it says Moonbeam, which I thought worked because she's asleep. And again, just trying to bring in a bit more of that blue. I think that one says Little Dreamer. Just tucking it into that space there. And yep, and a little star just to again cover that little sort of seam. And that completes my little group of 3 up the top as well. Okay, so I pulled out the ephemera. I think I only used that one little tiny circle again just to cover up one of those seams. And that's where I moved that enamel dot. So I had a couple of things sort of just floating out on their own. So I moved that down to there to make a group of 3. Although I'm not seeing a 3rd thing there, but I'm sure I add it. I might come in off camera actually and add some things at the end, but you'll see that in the close-ups anyway. So just trimming off my little overhanging bits. And for a finishing touch, I'll use some gold Kaiser Mist for a little accent, just splatter that all around. And that's my layout finished. So thank you so much for joining me today. Get to go check out Melissa's channel. The link will be in the description box. And I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.